Modern Christian Dads, Season 2. We're about to explode. Just dudes talking news, sports, and God.
What's up, guys? Welcome into the Modern Christian Dads podcast. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. We're dudes talking news, sports, and God, coming at you each and every week. So thanks for joining the crew, hashtag MCD Nation. We're going to get into some news, sports, and God in just a moment here. But how are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Very awesome. I want to encourage you guys, as always, we're on Facebook Live. So if you're on Facebook Live, comment, interact with us. We'd really appreciate that. You can go to Grace Point Daily, the YouTube channel. We put all of our shows on there. And most importantly, you can listen on any podcast platform that you want to. So thank you so much for that. Don't forget, we had a really great episode last week with a guy named Evan Belk. He's a teacher, a coach, and that was a great episode. Probably the best episode we ever had, in my opinion.
I don't agree
anyway,
with that.
So let's welcome.
He did get with me later and said that you really didn't know much about basketball. So.
All right. That is Leckley Shepins, Kelly Stevens over there.
Yes. Yay.
I thought it was great to just watch Kelly Stevens last week just be like,
You weren't the only one, brother.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of enjoyed the show. I was like, oh, wow. They
Yeah.
can do it without me.
so he's here. Greg Krawick, the Trail Ninja, is with us
Seriously?
as well.
Good afternoon,
Wait,
everybody.
Greg Walden? I get you guys messed up. Greg Walden.
We need to give him a new name. He's now called Walden. All right.
Walden.
Well, good afternoon and good morning if you're in Japan.
Yes.
What's the time difference?
I don't know.
12 hours.
I just
12
guessed.
hours? Okay. Greg Krawick, the real Greg Krawick.
Seriously?
The donut lord.
That's right.
Yeah. I should have brought a box of donuts for you guys last week. So while Evan and I were talking,
Well, yeah,
you
that
could have
would
been eating.
nice. Yeah. Thanks for thinking of that.
Yeah. That didn't help me last week.
No food today. So what's happening, guys?
Either.
I got a bunch of stuff to throw at you real quick, but you guys any updates
I thought of
or
something today that I'm gonna.
Excuse me. Can you let him talk?
yes?
I think this is a really good idea, and this is for you, Mr. Kelly Stevens. What do you guys think about modern Christian dads cooking?
Yeah.
Because
Cookbook?
No, just like we'll have a video thing with Kelly cooking because he makes some of the best smoked foods I've ever had. Like the jalapeno poppers, and I think the next time he does it, we ought to film that.
Oh,
Because I'm thinking that there may be some modern Christian dads that don't really know how to do that. Because I just learned this year how to grill and grill good. Because for years I've spent money on hamburger and stuff like that and totally just wasted it all. Nobody wants to eat it. But I thought, I bet there's some modern Christian dads that could benefit from that.
yeah.
You know? So I just thought MCD cooking.
Yeah, well,
or
that'd
lunch
be
with
good.
Leckley. I don't know.
Yeah.
The only thing that we'd have to do is get some security because every time I go out back to start grilling or smoking meat and stuff like that, my neighbor, R.V. Maynard, shows up and
Probably wants some.
he's always, I mean, what are you cooking?
Say,
Dr. R.B.
None
Maynard.
ya. None ya business. But I just thought I'd throw that out there, man.
No, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
think it
fun.
would be fun.
All right, great
So,
episode or video we can put on Facebook Live or
I
whatever.
think so. I think the guys
channel.
would appreciate that.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
Yeah, I've never had cooking. I don't think I ever had.
Huh?
I never had your cooking, so.
Oh, okay.
Walden, what's going on in your world? You're getting in the new house there.
Yeah, man, I'm wore out, man. I got so much junk. I'm like,
Can't even
overwhelmed
give
with
it
junk.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some junk away. So if anybody wants a free couch, two free end tables, a kitchen table with some chairs.
Have you slept on that couch?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it might not be
missing
so
a
bad.
mattress.
Huh?
It is missing a
That
mattress.
might be a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how about we just go ahead and dive into it? Enough that I did forget though, because you brought up cooking. We do have Modern Christian Dad Sports Only Edition now for the second straight week. If you caught that the other day, guys, thank you for that. I have to get, I have all the sports talk in my head on Monday morning, so it's a good way for me to get it out of my head. So if you like the sports exclusively, Modern Christian Dad's Sports Only edition on Mondays.
Anybody listening
The Monday
to that,
aftermath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, you betcha. All right, let's dive into it. Dudes Talking News, Sports and God. We have the Facebook page, all that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe on the podcast, please. So here we go. The first one is I do a thing called the Wake Up Grace Point as well. Every Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Wake Up Grace Point, Assembly of God, Grace Point Daily YouTube channel. But the other day I took a little break because we've been talking about hell, which is a heavy topic, right? So I took a moment to show everyone on the Wake Up Grace Point the Worshicken YouTube channel. Have you seen this before?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, the worship
Subscribe to this. This is great. The Worshicken YouTube channel. It's basically a guy where he takes rubber chickens and he takes the most popular worship songs of the day, and the rubber chickens sing to the worship song.
Yeah. That's good too.
It's awesome. Like, it's completely hilarious. And his videos have gotten more and more creative, but like he starts them off like it's real serious and you think this.
So it's called the Worshicken
YouTube channel. Worshicken YouTube channel. I'm telling you, it is hilarious. I mean, we're not going to do it because I don't know if we have the rights or whatever. But if you just go to that YouTube channel, completely hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Worshicken.
Greg Walden was so inspired, he did his own rubber chicken video, Facebook Live today.
Well, actually, I did one a year ago. Well, I have a red rubber chicken, so I had a Men at Work song playing. There's a little clip of it,
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't as good as
Why do you have a rubber chicken? I'm just curious.
my wife got it.
Why does she have a rubber chicken?
You know what? I'm going to ask her that question. Why are you doing the rubber chicken?
Oh, great.
Are you trying to
cook it, it wouldn't
is that
taste
something
good.
that you're trying to give away now through this? Does it come with the couch?
Yeah, it's probably stuffed underneath there somewhere. If you hear squawking when you sit down, here it is.
Okay, I feel like this is going to start getting us in trouble pretty soon.
Yeah, because I've got a joke I'm really fighting to keep from saying.
Okay, the Worshicken YouTube channel. It will be worth your time. Completely hilarious. Go check it out. Okay, next up, America's Most Stolen Cars. I found this top 5. Now, it had the top 25 or 20, 30, something like that. But I just went ahead and did the top 5, starting from 5 on down. Here we go. Number 5, the 2019 Dodge Charger. Last year, 888 of those were stolen.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Any of those cop cars?
Yeah.
Didn't say, I'm for sure. But anyway, number 4, the 2019 Nissan Sentra.
God, why would you steal that?
Not for sure why on that one. 959. The next one, I didn't write down the number on this one, but number 3 was the 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
That's a nice ride.
Yep.
So,
I think the Sentra and the Cherokee have been in that for the last several years.
Really?
Actually. Yeah.
maybe it has something to do with parts, or I didn't really get super dive deep into that one. Number 2, the 2019 Ram truck. 1,547 of those were stolen.
Oh, wow.
And the winner is Walden, the
truck.
2019 Ford F-Series.
Really?
1,767, the most stolen vehicle.
Yeah.
In America.
But they always bring those back.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
I heard like the Dodges, like how many of the Dodge Chargers were stolen?
888.
And like 790 where they've just found them on the side of the road 10 minutes after they got stolen. So
Yeah.
they got back to their owners pretty quick.
Found on road dead. Gotcha.
All right. Next up, I found this one very interesting. It was the 38 most valuable toys from your childhood. Okay, we got, you see, I got some figures and stuff in my office. I got boys and those kind of things. But I find it fascinating. If you go in the toy section, specifically the boy toy section, literally the toys are exactly the same as when I was a kid. They have pro wrestlers. They just released the original all the He-Man figures.
Really? Yeah.
They just released those in the toy section.
kidding.
They have Batman superheroes, Marvel. They have G.I. Joe Transformers,
Wow.
Ninja Turtles. Literally every toy that I had when I was a kid. Have you noticed this? Is like, it kind of freaks me out when I mean, they're like 3 times as much more in terms of price.
Right.
But literally all the toys are exactly the same. There's a couple that are different, but not much.
That is awesome.
So
It
this
just says boys are still boys.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
exactly.
true. Yeah.
Well, and there's a huge market. I read this the other day. Is that the people who are buying those toys now are not necessarily kids. It's retro
Yeah.
toy collectors, which leads to this article, the 38 most valuable toys from your childhood. And I found a listed at 35, but I'm going to throw some at you to see if you remember these. I pretty much grabbed the ones that were more relative to my childhood. But here's the first one. Garbage Pail Kids cards. Do you remember these?
Oh, yeah, I had them.
Garbage Pail Kid cards. Do you remember these?
Nasty Nick.
Nasty Nick.
Yeah,
So it's
gross
like
Greg. Oh, yeah.
it was like what was it like? Kind of Cabbage Patch Kids maybe, but they were like gross.
They were like, yeah.
And they had cards. I remember it.
And
So
you could peel it off.
Yeah.
And it was a sticker too. You could stick it on stuff.
Yeah. Well,
So
that
if you-
was
yeah.
after my time.
It was after your time, maybe after your time too.
Oh man, I
I remember
remember those.
mine. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, $1,000 and up.
Wow.
People are getting for these cards from their kids. The surreal Garbage Pail Kids collectible cards have found their ideal home on the equally surreal internet, where a card like Atom Bomb can collect around $3,000 bonus dollars if they're in their original packaging.
Wow.
So
Wow. Yeah.
That's
another
amazing.
big one. There's the guy Jake Logan Paul. I don't watch him. He like swears a lot. Not a good YouTube channel to watch, but every once in a while I see him on my YouTube feed because he's trending a lot. And another big one right now that is super expensive is original Pokemon stuff. If you have
Really?
original Pokemon, it's thousands and thousands of like Pokemon cards, etc. Anyway, I don't have that on there. Here's one you guys will probably be familiar with: the original Game Boy.
Yeah, but I remember getting that when it first came out.
If you want the original Game Boy right now, it's about $750 to $1,000.
Yeah.
What was a Tetris? I remember Tetris on
Oh,
that. That
man.
was like the
Best game ever.
Best gamer. Before we were obsessed with our cell phones, we whiled away the hours on Nintendo's handheld game system, which was first released in the U.S. in 1989. How old were you in 1989? These days, mint condition Game Boys go for hundreds, and if you have a special edition Game Boy Light, over $1,000.
Wow.
Wow.
I did not have either one
So
of those.
anyway, all right, next couple more for you guys, just for fun. Third is the vintage Super Soaker water guns.
Oh, yeah, I had those.
These are going between $100, $500. Super Soakers took water fights to the next level.
Yes.
And these vibrantly colored aqua guns are still in high demand. Models like this one, or there's a picture there from the 90s, start around $129, can go for as much as $500 bucks.
night, man.
Wow.
So
Yeah, we still leave them laying out in the yard and stuff and whatever. Not $500.
Just need to
Can you believe that?
Go to Walmart now and buy some
I
toys.
wish, like, in retro stuff is so popular. I wish I had, me personally, myself, had enough money to buy like 2 of everything. Literally. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
right.
And box one. And because some of this stuff, later on, you're going to kick yourself. I was talking with someone the other day about old cars, which is not like old toys, but, I kind of joked. People will talk about, like, I love the 1957 Chevy 2-door hardtop Bel Air. But people had like, I had 3 of those or 4 of those back in the day, right? And at the time, it was a car, and everyone had one, or they're wildly produced, or etc. And now they're like kicking themselves, right? I should have hung on to that.
Yeah.
And I was kind of joking, like, I'm not for sure 50 years from now, I'm like, oh man, that 2006 Toyota Corolla. Whew, if I only would have held on to that baby. But
You'll
I
still
don't.
be driving it.
I will. Yes. I'll be that weird old pastor that's still driving my Corolla. But those things, there's one Marquis Brownlee. He's a very popular YouTuber. He had a retro series. He actually unboxed an original Game Boy, and he tested it because they talked about how hardcore it was. Like, it could survive an explosion, but he was doing things like he had the original MacBook laptop, the desktop with the funky bubble screen, and he does like retro series on that stuff, and just so amazing. He opens one that was kept long ago and then reawakens it and see how it works and everything. So just kind of crazy.
Yeah, the Game Boy was tough, man. I took it when I went to a Desert Storm. I mean, sandstorms, everything. I think it kept on ticking.
Wow.
Retro stuff, super in right now, though. And the last one on the list was Mario Kart 64. My personal favorite game of all time. I don't have it. Greg Walden does. I go over to his house every once in a while.
Mario Kart. Yeah.
That's Spanky at Mario Kart.
Did any of you guys ever like have a football and go outside and play?
What?
What's that?
What are you
Or a
talking about?
basketball or
Or plank all day long.
So my grandma kept a lot of my dad's toys from when he was a kid, so we played with them when we were little guys, and they were all made out of steel.
Yeah.
Like all the cars and the fire trucks and everything, and when we got in fights, we'd throw it and they actually hurt. So what's your most memorable toy from when you were a kid?
There you go. I was going to throw that out there. Throw out your favorite retro toy.
I had a lot of the metal, like the fire trucks and the dump trucks. The one thing I remember playing most with was a Johnny West. He was a figure, and I think they even had a cartoon of him, but he was a cowboy. Oh. And so you got the horses with him, and you got the saddles that you could put on there and all that. And that's the one thing I kind of remember playing with the most. But
so now you can get Kanye West.
And
I thought he was going to say a rubber chicken.
That come later.
Love that rubber chicken. It's a red one specifically.
Yeah. How about you, Walden?
Well, mine was Hot Wheels, because I love the Hot Wheels cars and the Star Wars stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine was a Knight Rider car that actually talked. It came with a little model of David Hasselhoff. The guy, the figure that you could put in there. Yeah. And you pull down on the license plate and welcome, Michael. That was my favorite car. Yeah. So what about you there,
Pro
Pastor
wrestling
Jeremiah?
figures. I love pro wrestling figures. That was my favorite.
Wow.
Just action figures in general, but all-time favorite were pro wrestling figures.
Cool.
I did it with my G.I. Joes. I did it with any figure I had. Was always wrestling with them. So, all right. Well, let's move on now to a little food. Kelly Stevens, let's get back in your wheelhouse. Celebrity chef that's over there. Popeye's Cajun turkeys are coming back for Thanksgiving 2020.
Oh, man.
And did you see this Fauci? He's like, I just don't really recommend you guys have Thanksgiving this year and shouldn't get together in groups, and I oppose that. So you see it.
That rubber chicken to Fauci.
Slap him with the rubber chicken. Popeye's Louisiana Chicken is bringing back what it calls a fan favorite. The fast food New Orleans style chicken chain is taking pre-orders of its Cajun style turkeys at participating restaurants nationwide while supplies last. Prices start at $39.99. And if you want to know how to make it, I thought I had the recipe here.
How many pounds it is or anything like that? It's just $40 for a turkey.
Yeah.
They're pretty small. I bought one.
Have you?
Yeah, we bought one here a few years ago just to.
It's a Cornish
try
hen.
it. It's a quail size. No, I think it was like I want to say 8 to 10 pounds or something like
that's
that.
Kind of small.
So, but it was good. It was a little dry, but it was good. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you need that, I'm a huge advocate of steak for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Why do we need turkey? Just steak. I still remember 10 years ago we had ribeye steaks for Thanksgiving. I was like, why haven't we always done this?
Yes.
What's the point of turkey? Come on.
Although I like the honey baked hams. They're really
Those
delicious.
are good too.
Yeah. I don't know, if it's done right, the turkey can be very. You need to do this one for me. I want to get blended. Do you remember last year they had the Flamin' Hot Cheeto turkey? Did you see that one? It got really popular last year.
I heard about that, but
The Flamin' Hot Cheeto turkey.
Oh, wow.
We need to get Belinda or you to do that one.
Hey, that could be our first MCD.
There we go.
episode.
Yeah.
All kinds of great stories I was finding. I'll do one more. We'll get into some spiritual talk, and this one is for Mr. Greg Craywick over here, the Donut Lord.
Okay. All right.
SpaceX launches 14th batch of Starlink internet satellites and fast-growing fleet. A SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket fired 60 more Starlink internet relay satellites into orbit Sunday from the Kennedy Space Center, with another set awaiting launch Wednesday from the nearby Cape Canaveral Air Force Space Station. With Sunday's flight, SpaceX has now launched 835 Starlinks in a rapidly expanding global network that eventually will feature thousands of commercial broadband beacons delivering high-speed internet to any point on Earth.
I want that.
Got to be getting cluttered up there, I'm thinking.
I'm like, hey, Elon, man, hit me up, bro. I'll be running
To reach the goal, the company plans to launch at least 120 new Starlinks every month.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that stopping point is.
Did you sign up for the beta?
I need to find out. I need to.
Okay.
Elon hasn't called me back yet.
Okay, I did sign up for the beta, so they said when it's available in your area, they would let you know.
Okay,
by
I'm
email.
so
This would be fun to really get into sometime, but I was researching or reading some stuff talking about space, and it was Elon talking about how he's trying to mine meteors, and if Jesus doesn't come back,
it's scary, isn't it?
Space is going to become the new frontier.
Yeah, I know.
For wealth and riches, and because they're talking about asteroids. They're talking about mining asteroids is what this YouTube video is talking about, because those asteroids have minerals and the things that's used to build cell phones, all of this tech gear that we so desperately want.
Wow.
So now it's going to be like it's going to get there, at some point. So it'll be kind of crazy.
Wow. And they suspect a lot of these asteroids have tons of gold in them too.
Yeah,
nickel, gold,
and all that silver. All those.
So anyway,
for your pocket device.
But I mean, it's just crazy to think what's in space. And I saw a speck of all the garbage that's in space literally right now as well, and everything. But Elon continued to
have to come up
push.
with a satellite that's a dump truck.
Yeah, or a vacuum cleaner.
It just kind of goes around and just six holes.
Maybe Kirby ought to get into the game.
Just make sure you set out your trash on Wednesday.
Exactly. But you know who owns it all? God.
That's right. He does.
Yes.
He made it all and he owns it. So now we should talk God.
Yes,
Spiritual
we should.
talk. Let's thank our sponsor. Dive into it. Hi, my name is Jeremiah Johnson. I am the host of Grace Point Daily and the Modern Christian Dads podcast. But most importantly, I have the coolest job of being the lead pastor of Grace Point Assembly in Carthage, Missouri. Our church is about helping people discover a relationship with Christ and your purpose in Him, connecting other followers of Christ together in relationship and living out the mission of God. Why don't you join us for a service next time you're in this area? For more information, service times, and our address, go to gracepointag.org. We hope to see you soon. That's right. And we want to plug in our area coming up a big thing that we got going on, Heaven's Gates, Hell's Flames.
Yep. Amen.
November 8th, 9th, and 10th. So if you're in this area, come check it out. That's a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday night. It's going to be at 7 o'clock each night. Powerful drama about heaven and about hell, which segues me into this book I've been reading. I read it before. It's called Hell is Real, but I hate to admit it. And I stumbled across this one a few years back by a guy named Warren Bowman, who was a deacon in the church I was pastoring. Great guy. And it's just so challenging to go through. I'm reading all through it again. So kind of a lot of my wake up grace points the next week or two. And I'm even going to throw in a Sunday morning sermon on the subject matter of hell, how real and powerful that is, and how really we should be motivated as believers, followers of Christ.
Yep.
When we think about hell, like in just the other wake up grace point the other day, ask the question, okay, let's ask a foundational question. Do you believe in hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now there was a survey in this book at the time when it was written that said 6 out of 10 Christians or 6 out of 10 people don't believe in hell. So they're nearly half. So
there's pastors that don't believe in hell.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So, but biblically, we see, which this book argues, is Jesus. Every disciple, every book in the Bible talks about eternity and an eternity without Christ, which is called hell. And so, a lot of us now, moving away from that statistic, a lot of us would say, yes, we do believe in hell. And so, his whole point is, I love his story. He was talking about how he was so moved and had this encounter about the reality of hell, and he got his staff together and his church board, and he repented. He's like, I repent for not really acknowledging hell like I should, and basically he said in the story, he's like, oh, good. We thought you were going to talk about like you're having an affair or something like this. Praise God. And you're like, no, don't you realize how serious this is? Hell is real.
Yeah.
And we've been playing games and not doing what we should be doing as a church, And so really motivated by that whole thought today. So obviously we believe hell is real. We should be doing something about it. But the one scripture I wanted to bring up today, which I was really hanging on, comes out of, I just closed my Bible, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. And I'm going to need somebody to ramble for a second while I find that. Really appreciate that. All right, Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27 says, just just as man is destined to die once, and after that to face the judgment.
Yeah.
And so today, what I was hanging on was the reality or the truth that you only die once.
Yep.
Right.
You only have one life, and you only die once.
That's it.
And something comes after that. You're going to be judged. Is that you will, like the old preacher talk, you're going to stand before your maker one day. You're going to stand before. Yeah, that's actually what the Bible says.
Yes, it does.
Well, you're going to die once, and you're going to stand before God, and you're going to be judged.
Yep.
And there's one or two places that you can go to. And I'm not for sure that I'm not sure I get that. I'll just throw myself in there. I'm not sure I get that quite to its fullest reality. I only get one life. Because, if I really, really lived with that mentality, I'd probably be more aggressive, more thoughtful, more in every phase of life that I'm living. But now it's, it's that reality of eternity and the reality of eternity with heaven or hell.
And the thing about the one life is, the big catch is, you don't know how long that one life is going to be.
Yes.
I mean, you could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees. The Bible even says there's no guarantees of tomorrow. I mean, there's a story today about Rush Limbaugh. I mean, he got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and they thought they had it under control. Well, today's news it's progressing, and he's like, I've never really, we know we're going to die one day, but he's like, when you facing a terminal, a
illness,
situation like this, it really puts a new light on how short or how finite life is.
Yeah.
I remember Jonathan Edwards has a really good sermon called "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God," and he talks about in that sermon, and you can listen to it on YouTube or whatever, about how people always think they're going to outsmart the ones before them. But basically, your life is dangling by a thread over the pit of hell if you do not have a relationship with Christ. True. I mean, it's in your face. And I think it was either him or Oswald Chambers or Spurgeon or somebody that said he wished that he could take a brand new pastor and hang them over hell for a day and then send them out into the mission field.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow. I mean,
Yeah.
could you imagine that? They'll really, I mean, that would change everything. That would change the way you talk with people, the way you minister, the way you preach, the way you sing. It would, it'd change everything.
Yeah. Well, would it? Because the story about Lazarus and
You're right. Yeah.
he was like, send Lazarus back to tell my family, and it's like, why would they listen to him if they won't listen?
They've got the prophets.
So I don't know if they would listen or not. And the thing is here's the thing, guys. You have to have your experience with the Lord. That's the only thing that will change you. If you don't have your experience with the Lord, to where you're like, okay, Lord, I get it.
That's good, because I think when you do, you're actually looking at a decision.
Yes.
Like you are actually spiritually seeing what can happen if you don't choose Jesus.
That's exactly right.
So,
and there's a danger. I mean, here's a danger. Like if you look at the 10 plagues of Egypt, the first, like when you're listening to the gospel, if you're an unbeliever listening to the gospel and you're feeling that conviction, like, hey man, I got to do something. Don't put that decision off. Don't fluff it off. Don't and because each time you do that, your heart gets a little harder and harder. And if you look at the 10 plagues, the first 5 times Moses says, God says, let my people go, or let my people go. The Bible says Pharaoh hardened his heart. But after the 5th one, it says God hardened Pharaoh's heart. And you get to that point where you can no longer hear that conviction going on. And that's a real dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
So that's the only warning I would say is, if God's dealing with you, that you need to get your life right with Jesus. Respond now. Don't put it off.
That danger of one more day, one more moment. I think of Dr. R.B. Maynard, our good friend, if he's listening or will listen. Probably doesn't. No, anyway. But his first wife died of what was it? Brain cancer or brain cancer,
she had a tumor.
But had a tumor in the brain. But he even talked about that even when she was diagnosed, even when she had brain. He's like, and he said the day she died, he's like, well, I just didn't think it was going to be today.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. When it finally happened, I didn't think it was going to be today. And so I think we always live with a little bit of that mentality, like, oh, Not today, maybe tomorrow. You know, maybe Jesus will come back tomorrow. Maybe he'll come back next year. You know, maybe he'll come back, you know, November 14th or whatever. So we got a few more days, you know, to work through it.
Yeah.
But
Because I think we can get really comfortable in life and just put things off.
Yeah.
You know, well, it's another day. I'll just do it tomorrow.
Right.
And that is not good when it comes to your spiritual.
Yes, when it comes to your spiritual life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't
You need to
wait.
address that immediately.
Yeah.
so to put a little practicality to it today, I mean, I'm regurgitating a little bit of stuff here today, but
That's good. That's good stuff.
I talked about the bucket list. You know, the bucket list, we talk about the bucket list. That is a very selfish thing. Typically, it's usually like, well, I want to go on a cruise before I die. Oh, I want to, you know, something of that nature. It's usually something you want to get your own pleasure out of. But I talked about the unsaved bucket list. You know, who do you want to see get saved before you die? You know, who do you make that a list, make that a target, make that a goal
Yeah.
to say, I want to see so-and-so get saved
That's a good idea.
before I die.
Yeah.
That's my goal, you know? And then secondly, along with that, taking it a step further is to say, my next bucket list is, what do I want to do for God before I die? You know, there's so many people that I think, you know, leave opportunities, or, you know, they go through a whole life. I wish I would have done that missions trip. I wish I would have stepped out in faith in that area, or those kind of things. And what's on the bucket list that you want to do for God? Do that
Yeah.
while you still got a chance, because you only got one life, you only got one chance. So why not do it? What's the worst? You could fail, or it doesn't go well, or those kind of things. I mean, I just have met so many people that I feel like have just existed a little bit in life and never taken that radical step of faith, you know. And I hate to whine about my story, but you know, I always go back to in being here. And one of the marker moments, or for me, was like leaving Utah and just taking a step of faith. But you know what I said to myself? I said, hey, if we move here and do this and, you know, whatever, there's more churches to pastor. There's more, you know, it's like, what's the worst that can happen? I take a step of faith and say, oh, that was dumb. I guess I should go back to this. Great. Well, at least, you know, I can live with the reality. I'd rather live with, I tried it and failed,
Right.
than I never did it at all.
Yeah. Right.
I'd rather live with that.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that have potential, but have never stepped out to test that potential or put it out there to see where it leads them. They're just like,
Fear of
there's
failure.
there's so many people. And Greg, you could have been that way, you know, at your age, you know, you know, here you get the call of God, and I don't know how long that had been in your heart to do, but at your age, you had a really good job that was paying very well, and your family was provided for. Really, no worries. If you wanted something, you could go get it, and that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, you get a text and a phone call from pastor saying, hey, you think about coming back
Have you
to
heard of Carthage?
You know, and you know, you literally took a step of faith, you know, and it's going to be incredible to see what God does with you. And I can already see the major growth that's going on in your life. But, you know, man, you're a hero. I mean, you're a hero to me anyway, you know, and you're taking this big step of faith. You moved your family a long way from, and I might also say at a time that it was probably very hard for you and Kelly because of the diagnosis that your mother-in-law and had gotten. It would have been just, you know, it'd been real easy to say, yeah, the timing's not good. We shouldn't do this, you know, and all that. But God's going to honor that faithfulness. So
and He has, and He continues to do so. So,
yeah, you have one life.
Yeah,
you'll die one time.
Yep,
and then you're going to stand before God. You know, and that's the biggest of all moments. You know, and how scary will that be? I mean, I've never. I think I've stood before a judge like for a speeding ticket one time in a school zone. That was pretty scary. Like,
was that recently?
But man, you know, one day we're going to stand before God, Almighty God, and be judged, you know, and praise the Lord. The good news is, we have to keep this in the right perspective, is that He's paid the price.
Yes.
We're not condemned. We don't have to, that doesn't have to be a fearful moment when we know that we've received the gift of salvation, when we've embraced that.
Yeah.
When we've made a decision to follow Jesus, then it's not like I'm going to be judged, and that kind of thing. But there still should be a fearful reality that we walk in every day. I mentioned that today when we were at our pastors' meeting. That Bible verse where Jesus said, hey, some are going to come before me one day and be like, I prophesied in your name. I did, for me, I did podcasts in your name. I did video. And Jesus like, well, I didn't really know you though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scares me as well.
Yeah, that's for the posers. I mean, we know there's posers out there.
Yeah.
Anybody can slap the Christian label on themselves. And they just do what they want to do, but they just slap the Christian label on themselves. They're the posers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I brought up Eminem, his most famous song is Lose Yourself, but it's always like, dun, 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 dun. You only got one shot. What you going to do with it? Gonna get, have you heard that song before? Come on, Lose Yourself, Eminem. Come on. Anyway. All right. You're old, likely, Shepins. An old man.
He's thinking Eminem.
He's like, I was kind of thinking of a Beach Boys song instead.
I'm just now trying to caramel M&Ms, man. They're really good.
So here's the goal, guys. You have one life. Yep. You only got one shot. You're going to die one time, and then you're going to face the judgment. And so, number one, I hope that we're all right with God, and that you're right with God, and that you've made a decision to embrace the gift of salvation and to become a follower of Jesus Christ. But then along with that, now we got to be motivated to say like, well, I want to share that with other people because I don't want all those other people in my life, sphere of influence, people I love. I don't want them to go to hell, so I want to share Jesus with them. Right. And then number two, because I only have one shot, man, I realize now that I have a calling and I have a purpose and I want to live out that God purpose and do what God's called me to do and not waste anything that God has given me.
Yeah.
So
that's good word. Yep. Good word.
All right, guys, modern Christian dads, dudes talking news, sports, and God. We did it once again. Don't worry. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening.